Here we are inside the Benimar mileo 286. First, I will come to the main control panel just here and press this button here and then this button here to turn the 12 volt on. Now we've done this, you'll see lights have come on, etc. And we are now charging the batteries from the main supply as we are currently hooked up to the mains. Next we have the button that turns the water pump on and off. Water pump needs to be on so we can get water out of the taps, flush the toilet and fill the actual boiler up if it's been drained out. This last button along the top just turns the awning light on and off. Buttons along the bottom mainly give us information. So this first one here will let us know the condition of the leisure battery. And then this one will give us the condition of the vehicle battery. And then this one will let us know how much fresh water is on board. When the grey water tank reaches the point that it needs emptying, a red light will flash here to let you know. When the fresh water tank drops from the last amber into the red, this amber light here will occasionally flash to let you know that you're getting low on water. And again, you will get flashing lights beside both of the batteries if they are low. The last button just here just controls the illumination of the control panel. So if we're sleeping, especially in the higher position in the drop down bed, we do not need to then stare at the bright lights all night. So just literally hold it and it works on a dimmer. This one here will illuminate when you start the engine. It will just let you know that the alternator is charging the batteries. Beside the main control panel, we then have the control panel for the Truma Combi heating and hot water. Currently it's just displaying the time, and again it's letting us know that we have main supply connected. If we now press this button, you will see all the icons appear, and as I rotate the button they begin to flash. So if we start with the first icon there, this one is for your heating. So if we now click on it, heating is off. All we then do is just rotate and pick a temperature we want it to be inside the motorhome, right the way up to 30 degrees. So let's just say we want it to be 30 degrees in here. Click on it to store it in, and you'll see a little icon has just appeared above. That little icon there is just letting us know that we've set a parameter. Basically now, whenever the heating is running, this icon here will begin to flash, and it will continue to flash until the temperature has been achieved. The thermostat is just here. If we now drop the temperature back beneath the thermostat, you will now see that the flame goes back to a solid. Next, we have the icon for hot water. So again, click and rotate. We can heat hot water in eco mode, which will give us a temperature of about 40 degrees. We can heat in hot, which will give us a temperature of about 60 degrees. And we can also perform a boost on the boiler. The boost is extremely handy if there's more than one of you having a shower in quick succession of each other, or if you just want a longer shower. If you do perform the boost and the heating is running, it will turn the heating off because it needs to take that power to do it. But I will now just put it on Eco. This will probably not flash now because I've already preheated the water. Next, we have power source. So at the moment we're currently using dual fuel, which is indicated up here with a picture of a gas bottle and 2 lightning strikes. So we are using dual fuel, using main supply at 2 kilowatts and a mixture of gas. If I rotate, we can lower the power consumption to main supply at 1 kilowatt on gas. Both of these options are very handy in the winter months if you want to get up to temperature nice and quickly. It does not waste the gas just for the sake of it. As soon as it is no longer required, it will cut the gas away and maintain on the electricity. If we have no main supply connected, we can solely run just on gas, or alternatively we can just solely run on main supply at 2 or 1 kilowatt, just depending on the amperage of the site that you're on. Next we have the circulation fan for the heating system. So currently the fan is in eco mode. What we can just do is turn it up to high. If I now come and turn everything off and then go back to the circulation fan, what we can also do is put the fan in vent mode. So if it's a warm day, we can just circulate the air. It has a fan speed of 1 to 10. After the top icons, we then go to the lower ones. This first one is for a basic timer. You just literally have a start time and an end time. And then once you've picked that, you then just tell it what you want on within that time period. Once the timer is on, the timer icon will come up there, and then with whatever time period you have set it at, it will then operate. If I now go and turn it back off again, when we return, we can alter it again. Obviously, if you're using the timer, it helps if the clock is correct, and that is all this one here does. And then the last one is your settings menu. So within that we have offset for this thermostat. So if you don't think it's quite correct, you can just tweak it slightly. Temperature, just if you prefer it displayed in Celsius or Fahrenheit. Brightness of the screen, 12 or 24 hour clock. Language. Index, more for technicians, it just lets them know what software it's running. And then lastly, full factory reset. From time to time, these control boards will throw up error codes. They're usually basic stuff. An error code will appear when my finger is here, just as a warning triangle, and if you click on it, it will display the error code. It's basically a series of letters and numbers. If you look in the manual or on Truma's website, or if you just Google it, you can usually find what the problem is. 9 times out of 10, if you just rectify the problem, the error code will just go out automatically. If you find that it's not happening, it's a good idea to just make sure that you've actually got nothing running itself. If that's still not working, I always suggest the good old-fashioned turn it off and turn it back on again. And the way we turn this control panel completely off is just hold it in. You'll firstly see it says app, continue to hold until it says off. Off will then stay on the screen for a few seconds or a few minutes, just depending on how long the unit's been running for. Once off has then disappeared, you will be able to turn it back on. If that still does not rectify the problem, I always then say just do a factory reset, because sometimes these, just like any other kind of computer, can just glitch and they just need a reset. If you are going to want to control your heating and your hot water via a smartphone or a tablet, you just need to come to this overhead locker just here, and you will see the iNet box. What you need to do firstly is download the Truma app onto your device. Once you've done that, make sure your Bluetooth is turned on and then launch. When you launch, you will see a button that says remote control. Press that one and then follow the on-screen instructions. It will firstly tell you to come to this Bluetooth button here and press it, and it will then send out the Bluetooth signal. You will then be able to connect up, no different than hands-free for like mobile phones. Once you're connected, you'll then be able to control your heating and your hot water via Bluetooth. If you want to control it from further afield, what you can do is add a pay-as-you-go SIM card. pop it in that slot there and register it, and then you'll be able to control your heating and your hot water from much further afield. If you do decide to do this, what you can then do with this control panel is here is put it in a semi-dormant state, so you just hold it until it says app and then let go. Also in here we have the solar panel regulator. You do not need to do anything with these particular ones. It will just show you what it's actually up to. So it's currently with the green light on in float mode, meaning that both the leisure and the vehicle batteries really do not require a charge at the moment. Whenever it's putting a charge in, this one will go out and an amber one will come on. And then this side here you have one that's not illuminated, which is the alarm if there's a problem with it, and the one below it is just letting you know that it is actually working. If we now actually come to the location of the boiler itself, so if we just remove these cushions, and we now lift up, you will see we have numerous bits and bobs in here. Okay, so firstly we have the actual Truma boiler itself. The drain valve for it is just here. These drain valves are automatic, so if the temperature inside this motorhome drops below 3 or 4 degrees, this valve will automatically open itself and jettison all the water out of the boiler to frost protect. What we can also do is manually drain it for winterization. If we're going to do that, we just need to come to this blue diamond here and twist it. When we twist it, what will happen is, if I just move this cable out of the way so we can see slightly better, a little blue button will pop out just here. So if I now twist, as you can see, blue button has popped out and we're now draining the boiler. To fill it back up again, twist, press in, it will then reset. Make sure you've got water in your fresh tank, turn on the water pump, and it will then reprime itself. If that blue button has just popped out because it's gone into frost protection mode, all you then need to do is just push it back in. If you're pushing it back in and it's popping back out again, it is just still too cold in the motorhome and you will need to turn your heating on to generate some heat to allow it to reset. I always suggest, when fully winterizing your van, once you've drained off your freshwater tank and your wastewater tank, and then obviously drained the boiler, that you then also open up all of your taps. That way, if there is a harsh frost, hopefully the water will then be forced out the end of the taps into an icicle instead of expanding in the pipes and splitting them. Also in here we have the location of the battery charger just here. This little bit just here with the green flashy light on is just the split charger. It's just what then splits the charge between batteries. We then have the location of the 12 volt fuses just here. To be fair, if you are going to blow a 12 volt fuse, it will probably be a yellow 20 amp one, which is for the electric drop down bed. They can occasionally blow if you have too much stuff on the bed and you put it up. Basically, if the motor goes under too much load, it will pop a fuse to protect itself. And then basically just where my hand is here are the main strip switches. So you have your individual MCBs, your RCD and your test button just there. Beside it we just have storage. Whilst we're still generally on the topic of the boiler, we will just come to this window here. All of the windows in this motorhome operate in the same sort of way. The main reason I'm coming to this window is that if you have the boiler on and you are using gas and you open this window, it will cut itself out, because underneath this window, if I now open, is the flue for the boiler. So when we open this window here, this pressure switch here will pop out to cut the boiler out to prevent carbon monoxide poisoning. Next we have the location of the fresh water tank, and that just sits underneath the two rear passenger seats. So again, if we just remove these cushions just here, you will now see, as I remove this, the top of the water tank. You will also see the water pump just sits on top of it. We can gain access to it just here, so if you want to add cleaning powders etc. to it, it's an easy access point. For the two travel seats, we just need to fold this down. Basically underneath here there are two levers that need to be pulled at the same time, and then this will then drop out the way to allow two to travel. If you are going to use the lower bed, it's very simple to make. All you need to do is get the two bed make-up boards from the garage area, and then fold the legs out underneath them, and then rest them on these plinths here and here and here and here, and then it is a matter of then just sliding your cushions in and then sticking the infill in the center here. If we just quickly walk to the back of the motorhome and go actually into the wardrobe, it is illustrated just here. Next we have the television bracket. If you're going to use a television, tucked up here we have 12 volt main supply and the aerial fly lead point. The actual television aerial itself sits on top of the roof and you do not need to do anything with it. All you basically need to make sure is that the digital amplifier is turned on just in this cupboard here. There is an on-off switch just on the side here, and then control your boost just here. The previous owner of this van has also had mobile Wi-Fi added, so it's a Huawei one. You will need to get a SIM card for it if you want to use it, and then obviously you've then got mobile Wi-Fi. Beneath this locker just here we then have the Thetford fridge freezer. On and off on this square here, the unit is currently on with the small little green light being on, and this model is an automatic model, so as long as we are on A for auto, it will find the best power source it can for you. So because we're hooked up to main supply at the moment, it's put us onto mains. If I then pulled the mains lead out, it would then automatically try to fire itself up onto gas, and as soon as we start the engine, it will then go over to 12 volt maintain. We can take it out of auto just by holding this grey button down just here, and it will begin to flash. So we can manually pick main supply, manually pick 12 volt maintain, and manually pick gas. To be fair though, automatic is the easiest one to have it on. And once we've selected, we can then select the temperature control. And then to turn it off, exactly the same way as turning it on, just hold the button in and it will then turn off. We then have a good size freezer box at the top, fridge and pull out part as well. Next we have the two gas burners and the electric hot plate. The electric hot plate just operates just here. Red light comes on to let you know it's in operation. And then we have the two gas burners just here. Just push in, twist, push the igniter. And then beneath that we have the oven and hob. So for the oven, push in to the left, and then for the grill, push in to the right. The gas isolation taps for the appliances are all in the cutlery drawer, so they're all just tucked here. So we have fridge, heating and hot water, cooker and barbecue point. They can, if you want to, all stay in the on position. I say turning them off is more for maintenance than anything else. If you smell gas, I would say just go and turn the gas bottle off. You will see that the barbecue point is just turned off. It's always a good idea if you're not actually using that to have it turned off. Next we have the microwave. Please make sure that everything is out of it for travel. This is a grill combi, so you just pick up here. So you've got your power settings, then you've got grill, and then you've got combination. You've then got time underneath here, and start and stop. We can gain access to the garage from inside. If we now go in to the washroom, we have the Thetford toilet just here to use. Undo to the cassette just here, and then press the blue button to flush. And then close back up again. If this has been left open, you will not be able to remove the cassette from the outside. The level indicator for the cassette just sits there, so the green will rotate round to red when the cassette is full and needs emptying. We then have the basin and the shower just here. Do make sure that shower screen is clipped back for travel. Do make sure that it's folded the correct way. The drop down bed operates very easily. Just press to drop and we can literally have it at whatever height we want. Ladder hooks on here if you're using it in the higher point. You also have cargo nets that can then clip up to the ceiling if you are sleeping in the higher position. If you are going to have this in the lowest position, so the bed itself is nearly touching the cushions, do make sure that you've turned the lower lighting off, or you may scorch the upholstery. If this bed was to completely malfunction, you can wind it up and down manually. All you need to do is just come to this point here, remove this cover, and you will find a 13mm nut just there, and then you can wind the bed up and down manually.